Alright, I got a crazy idea, and I want to see what all y'all think about it. What if I told you they could bring back a Legends character, give us more Luke, with a lot more fun and comedy considering who this person is? Alright, so here's your teaser. In Mandalorian Season 2, we have been introduced to Dark Troopers, and Dark Troopers were conceived and used for an old Star Wars games called Dark Forces. So what does that have to do with anything, you might ask? Well, everything, actually. The main character in this game was Kyle Katarn, a former Stormtrooper. Who else do we know is a former Stormtrooper in the Mandalorian series? Migs Mayfeld. Now, Screen Rant proposes that Migs could replace Cara Dune in the Rangers of the New Republic. I'll read a portion of it to you. Maybe I'll read the whole thing. So this is the article on Screen Rant by Simon Gallagher. Never heard of him. Alright, here we go. Gina Carano's exit from The Mandalorian poses an interesting question about how Disney can replace Cara Dune. But they already have the perfect answer. Bill Burr's Mayfeld. The former Imperial Stormtrooper left Season 2 before the climactic act on Moff Gideon's destroyers to rescue Baby Yoda. But the ending simply wasn't satisfying. Far more intriguing is the idea of him continuing his journey to redemption alongside Pedro Pascal's Din Djarin. The author goes on to say there was substance to the story after they found Cara Dune in the place of the Marshal in the New Republic. And that's the arc that Mayfeld could replace. Now, I don't know if he could do the Marshal, but definitely there's a redemption portion of it. Maybe they could. I think we've kind of thought of a story that you could kind of do to bring this together. We'll talk about it in a minute. Anyway, the author goes on to write, Mayfeld is one of the most complex characters in the modern Star Wars. Even if he was presented initially as something of an archetypical turncoat, he and John Boyega's Finn share the same narrative backbone, having turned away from their military affiliation with the Empire out of moral disgust. Where the sequels failed to give Finn a satisfying story to really explore that arc, The Mandalorian's feature can explore it with Mayfeld, and giving him some of the narrative weight afforded to Cara Dune's development, which seemed to lean heavily into the idea of a redemption arc without fully realizing it, could play dividends. I mean, come on, we know that that character's speech to Din Djarin about keeping the helmet on and taking it off was one of the best. The character has the ability to expand. So, well, what does all this mean? Well, I think it means we could have a sort of rebirth of a Legends character, Kyle Katarn, reborn in the form of Migs Mayfeld. It's even the same alliteration. Kyle Katarn, Migs Mayfeld. Alright, so effectively we've already faced Dark Forces 1 with the Dark Troopers. Okay? So I guess the next part would be Dark Forces 2. And this is where Kyle Katarn embarked on defeating a Dark Jedi and the Imperial Remnant, and he learned he can use the Force too, and joins Luke Skywalker in his academy. So I think that'd be pretty cool if that was the next phase, because we get some Luke, maybe you get some Baby Yoda, have somebody that's can counter the other side of what's going on with no Force, with Din Djarin and Bo-Katan. And then this takes us to the next phase, where in Jedi Outcast. This is where Kyle Katarn lost his way while facing another dark side user. And he doesn't overcome this until he returns to Luke Skywalker in the Academy and completes his training. And then finally the Jedi Academy series, where Kyle Katarn has become a Jedi Master himself, and along with his apprentice takes on the disciples of Ragnos, Sith cultists dedicated to the resurrection of a Sith Lord, Marker Ragnos. Alright, so that's a short summary of those games. And the thing you gotta understand about Kyle Katarn is he's an extremely practical character. He is not a mystical character in any way. Okay, so this is a really short summary of these games, and kind of a little bit of background on the character. But I think you're starting to see where they might lead if Bill Burr is allowed to bring the fan favorite Kyle Katarn back to life in the form of Migs Mayfeld. I think if Migs must make a new moral decision to take on the Remnant, even if it means facing Inquisitors or Force users of some kind, if Luke comes back into the picture, encourages Migs down the right path, we could have this all play out. I mean, we obviously have the Imperial Remnant. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility that we would still have Inquisitors, right? Alright, so what I can gather, there's only 10 that we fully know of, but there's other instances where Inquisitors appear in canon. Of those 10, we don't know the fates of the 3rd and 4th Inquisitor at all. And the 8th and 9th Inquisitor supposedly fell to their death, and we all know what that means. And we do know that 2 unidentified Inquisitors that were romantically evolved were killed by Vader after the death of Eth Koth, which could be the 3rd and 4th sister, but we don't know that for sure. But in Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith 19, Eth Koth's baby is taken as well. So there's another potential Force user we don't know the fate of. And speaking of babies, we don't know the fate of the babies taken for the Project Harvester. We don't know the fate of Barriss Offee, for example. And we know that more than one Night Sister survived Grievous' attack to wipe out the Night Sisters, Merrin and Juressa being the examples of 2. The point of this is that it is possible that the Imperial Remnant forces continue to rise up and have Dark Force users leading them. So here is a possible scenario. Alright, Migs finds himself in the spot where he is found to be alive by a ranger of the New Republic. I mean, if you remember, he was reported dead. In the story, he will have a chance to let the ranger die so he can be free or save him, knowing he is headed back to prison. However, he chooses to save the ranger. The ranger asks Migs if he would like to stick around and help him, and Migs does. The ranger and Migs continue to investigate Nefarious dealings in the Outer Rim territories until they find the remnant, and they are led by a Red Blade. By the end of that season, Migs discovers he's special. He even managed to escape the Red Blade with the help of Luke. Luke senses the Force within Migs. He begins to train with Luke. He continues to travel, hunt for this remnant and Red Blade until he defeats him or her. However, in the process, he discovers all the acolytes of the Beyond. Those were the cultists in the book series Aftermath, and they were dedicated to the resurrection of the Sith, which was Palpatine and Vader. And you can see that it mirrors the cult group like the Disciples of Ragnos. You can kind of see where this could culminate with Ahsoka and her quest, and Mando and so on. I think you get the idea. I think that'd be kind of cool. What do you think about that?
Tell us what you think
in the comments below, and it would be awesome if you would like and share this to your friends. Bless you.